I'd like to welcome today's panelists, Professor David Aworawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos, and Jide Ologun, legal practitioner and national development advocate. Now, there seems to be controversy in the wake of a recent announcement by the federal government about its plan to launch the first batch of approximately 5,600 palliative compressed natural gas and electric vehicles ahead of President Bola Tinubu's first administration anniversary. Stakeholders in the automotive industry are questioning the decision to opt for semi-knockdown assembly, which effectively means importing fully built vehicles and assembling them in Nigeria as opposed to patronizing local manufacturers. This move, according to industry insiders, contradicts the principles of the Nigeria Automotive Industry Development Plan. In a statement, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, had announced the procurement of the vehicles and 20,000 CNG conversion kits, valued at about 100 billion naira, as part of efforts to mitigate the impact of fuel price increases following last year's removal of petrol subsidies. I'm now being joined to do justice to that topic by veteran journalist and academic Shino Kawonise. Good to have you on this program.
Thank you, Dr. Abati.
Well,
good to be here on this day live.
Yes. Okay, first, before we started this program, some guys sent me messages. They said this interview must not happen. This conversation must not occur. And that if we discuss this subject, Arise News will be sued. So I don't know what's going on.
That must have come from those who have a lot to hide.
Oh, no. I'm not making it up. I don't want to waste time by reading those messages that this interview must not take place.
Why will an interview about a public policy, about a public program, not take place on Arise television?
Oh, okay, here we go. Maybe it's about your own interest in the matter. I know you as an academic.
Yeah.
We used to teach together at the Ogun State University.
At that time.
It became Olabisi Onabanjo. Where you moved on to other things. Mining, entrepreneurship.
Thank you.
Is it something about you that they say you must not talk?
It could have been something about me. Of course, I'm into the CNG business. We are the pioneers, bringing kits to convert. Even before the PCNGI, that is the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, was even set up. We had been in the business. We've been, creating awareness about the business alternative to petrol, especially after the subsidy was removed. Because it was actually a very smart move by the government to say that, okay, let us promote this CNG stuff, because we have this natural gas just being flared. It's the first matter that comes out when you are drilling oil. And it just been flared, over the several decades. But the Buhari government started it, and then, of course, continued by the Tinubu administration, particularly after the removal of petrol subsidy that made transportation costs and all of that to go right through the roof. So it's a very smart move by the government to have established that agency, the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, PCNGI.
Oh, okay. Where is the problem with this presidential initiative on compressed natural gas? Only was it yesterday or Friday?
Yeah.
Now, that agency, the PCNGI, announced that there's now a reduction of about 40% in transport fares. But motorists are saying, no, it's not true. It's an audio policy move.
It's just
what is the problem?
It's just a Nollywood entertainment. Now, because you can't just go to motor parks and say that, okay, you are decreasing prices. Buhari tried that in his first coming in 1983. We are not enough to see that it doesn't work, that you want to do price control. But the issue really is this. The federal government set up this agency. Like I said, it was well conceived because we needed to, diversify our energy mix in terms of, fuel, especially after the removal of the fuel subsidies, with the onset of the Tinubu administration. It was a very nice idea, nice move. They now set up this agency, CNG, to create this awareness along the way. So, but they now find out that because of the high entry point cost of the cost of conversion, the government now said, okay, let us now start to give these kits for the conversion of commercial vehicles. Note, commercial vehicles, that if those ones were assisted, to convert their vehicles, it will impact positively on the high cost of transportation, of course, which was also impacting a lot of things in terms of food prices and all of that, because you have to bring them from the farm gate and all of that to do, moving around, commuting, everything, it was going to affect it. So they now said, we are going to be giving these kits free of charge to commercial vehicles. Prior to that, some of us had been in this business converting for both private and commercial vehicles. It was not, the adoption was not really very much. But when they started that conversion, the adoption got a boost. And it was going on initially. So, but like everything public sector in Nigeria, the issue of corruption now crept in. Number one, how are they doing this? Okay, thank you for bringing all of this on the screen. Where I'm going to explain what those WhatsApp messages that we are seeing on the screen meant. Number one, they inflated the cost of the kit. Now, when you are talking of the kit, you are talking of the kit and the cylinder, the tank. We call it the tank. There is this special tank that is really very heavy. It's bulletproof. It's so heavy. Because when people are talking about, CNG is not safe, it's far, far safer than petrol. And of course, when you convert your vehicle, you have up to 80% savings on fuel costs. So it's something that actually will revolutionize the transport sector in Nigeria if properly done. So the first thing that we found out was that they were inflating the cost of these kits. If you look at their books, you will see 1,050,000 naira for kits that we are selling for 600,000 naira. NIPCO, before they stopped the pause on the conversion, they were doing this thing for 750. So, but the total cost of conversion of a V4 vehicle, that is 4-cylinder vehicle, these vehicles with 4-cylinder plugs, for the government, they are passing it off for 1,200,000, 1.2 million. Something that NIPCO, that we are doing for 750, that's a 60% premium on the normal cost. But that is not even the issue. That is not even so much of a problem. We knew that was going on. Like everything, government, they will, contract inflation and all of that. So the problem started when they now started stealing these kits and funneling to the black market. The commercial vehicles that were supposed to benefit from this were no longer benefiting from them. From their record, as at last month, they said they had converted 40,000 vehicles. But I can assure you, less than half of that actually got to the commercial vehicles. And how are they doing this? Very quickly. Okay.
I've seen some petitions flying around about fraud, about corruption. I get your point. You said that, okay, President Tinubu means well with this initiative, climate change, clean energy, this was the original objective. Yeah. Who are these fraudulent people who are causing problems? And the petitions, what are the demands of the group that you belong to? What do you want President Tinubu to do to these people who are sabotaging what President Tinubu is doing to help the Nigerian motorists?
To start with, I don't even belong to any group. I'm doing this, number one, you know me as a newspaper publisher. we monitor all of these things, and we try to ensure probity to a demand and accountability from government at all levels. So that's number one. Number two, as I said, I'm also, a key stakeholder in this business. I mean, I import this kit and we install, we sell. In fact, in the whole of Nigeria, nobody actually sells this spare part of all of this except my own company. Because they install, there's no provision for maintenance. So we provide to the minutest of the part of CNG. So I do that. So,
okay, name your company. Which company?
Ready Autos.
Ready Autos.
Ready Autos. We bring.
So you are defending your own interest?
No. In the interest of the public interest, number one. And then let me also tell you how. Because I use my own connection to bring some foreign investors. I brought some Chinese partners to come to Nigeria to produce some of these. In fact, the whole of the kit and the cylinders. They came, by the time they came, they saw that these things were being sold below even production cost as projected for them to be producing in Nigeria. They ran back. Some of them brought container loads of it. They couldn't sell because of the stolen kit being funneled to the black market. And let me tell you the mechanism of it. Now, they are supposed to work with NURTW, the Association for Uber Drivers, Bolt. Those were the ones that were originally benefiting from this gesture, nice gesture by the federal government. So what did they do? They established these conversion centers. So from there, they go there with list. So the list, when they give you the list of, let's say, 100 kits, that list will consist of about 70% that are features. They now started bringing in private vehicles to register with NURTW. We have evidence for this one. You are going to see it on screen very soon. They were advertising for this thing, something that costs 600,000. We sell for 600,000 with a little markup. After markup, it comes to about 600,000. When they steal this kit, they funnel to black market and they sell for as low as 150. So the foreign investors that came, when they saw this thing, you see, now they are advertising for 200,000 on WhatsApp groups. You see the numbers because we have done a lot of sting operations that they were not aware of. We went actually and bought these kits with receipt and all of that, that we are passing to the security agency, AFCC, and the rest of them.
Kawonise, I asked you, what do you want President Tinubu to do? What are your suggestions?
Number one.
Because you are alleging corruption, fraud.
Very serious.
What should the president do?
Now, number one, it goes against the principle of even the federal government to be providing this kind of subsidy. Wherever you find this subsidy, you find fraud. One of the reasons why the fuel subsidy, the petrol subsidy was ended, or all manners of subsidy, was because of this issue of corruption. It will be there. What is happening in PCNGI? Well, just a matter of time. It will get to that place. So what we are saying is this: stop this free distribution of kits. There are agencies. Now you have the credit call. You have so many of these microfinance banks that are financing this, that they are just asking for payback of about 5,000 naira per day. Rather than put this money here, what is lacking in this industry now is the supporting infrastructure. People have converted. We have converted for tens of thousands. They don't have where to fill the gas, to refill the gas. As you saw in a publication by The Guardian today, motorists will go to the filling station and spend, the night there. 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours to refill something that will just last you for about 4 hours. So some of the vehicles that we have converted are actually now dekitting, removing the kits and saying that, look, since we cannot find. So what we are saying is that if you do not stop this, we are going to actually be losing ground in terms of the adoption of CNG. And that is what is happening. Now, instead of giving the 40,000 they claimed to have spent, that cost the federal government 14 billion. Now, another 70,000 is coming, which is another 84 billion. If you put that in the bank of industry, all these filling stations that already have petrol stations can go there and assess this as still single-digit interest rate. The NIPCO that is actually dominating the distribution something got a facility of about 25 billion from the central bank under Buhari. That's why we even have the few filling outlets that we even have now. So instead of putting this money on, free kits and all of that they are stealing and taking to the black market, the federal government should funnel the money to the Bank of Industry. For individuals that will want to something, you have the credit call. How much does this go? This is just 750,000 naira. And people were already going there. And because at the end of the day, not a single kobo has reduced from transport costs since they started this. And the government, as you saw from the press release by Bayo Onunuga, the government already spent more than 100 billion on this, and there is no impact. This is the kind of thing that discredit the federal government, that discredit the government as if they are not doing anything. I was opposed to the removal of fuel subsidy, but if any kind of mitigation came along, I will support. We supported and said this is a very good thing.
Okay. Yeah, there has been a freedom of information request.
Yeah.
One group sent a freedom of information request asking the federal government how much has been spent, how has this been done.
Asking PCNGI.
Yes, it's still the federal government. It's an agency of the federal government. Yeah. About funds expended, processes, and all of that. But do you by any chance know some persons in that presidential compressed natural gas initiative who may be the culprits here?
Oh, there are so many.
Please, can you name them? Because we need to know these people.
I've sent people to Michael Oluwagbemi, the young man that is heading the project director. That list is going on. No. He didn't know that I was behind some of the messages that he received, that I sent people there. He will say, yes, it is true. We know that it's going on, we investigate. So
Michael Oluwagbemi is the main person?
No, what I'm saying is this. I'm not actually naming a particular, but what I'm saying is that this thing runs from top to bottom there. Now, let me tell you, very many of the conversion centers, we have found out that we are actually front for officials of PCNGI. We have all of this information. We have followed the money, and we have seen the money trail. So it's not something, because all this noise that they are making, that somebody was blackmailing them, they actually don't know what is going to hit them. Because at my own level, we've come a long way in journalism. I've been commissioner for information. I've done all of this. I've been in government, and we've run organizations. I won't do anything without first of all doing my very thorough, investigation and due diligence. We have caught their hand in the cookie jar. And we are going to turn in all the reports to the relevant security agencies. They were doing this in conjunction with these conversion centers. And they know that we know. It's okay. When you look at it on WhatsApp, 200,000, 150,000 for something that we sell for 600,000 with just a little markup. The government is paying 1.2 million naira for
200,000 to 650. That's not little markup.
No. What I'm saying, my own cost is not 250. We don't mark this number more than 10 or 15%. What I'm saying that we are selling, the selling price is 600 for a V4, for V4 kit and 65-liter tank. That's the combination that the PCNG, gives for this to these commercial vehicles. But like I told you, there is already 60% contract inflation on that. So, but they will not steal this thing that costs the federal government on their own books. When you apply for the freedom, because they cannot erase it. It's there in their books that it costs 1,050,000. Whatever I'm telling you authoritatively. So what costs the federal government 1,050,000 is what they are funneling to the black market, stolen. And let me also tell you something. Go and look at their books. They will tell you that 15% of all the kits are damaged. 15%. That means 1,150 is damaged. I've imported thousands of these kits. Not one was damaged. So that's one of the areas of fraud. How they are defrauding the country. Billions and billions of naira.
Okay, Kawonise, as you begin to round up, this is all about the Nigerian worker. Yeah. The 40% reduction in transport fare that they have talked about is to help the ordinary man. The whole idea of the compressed natural gas is to reduce transportation cost. A few days ago, we had May 1, Labor Day, International Workers' Day. What are your reflections from this issue about transportation, about the Nigerian worker And now we ordinary Nigerians, everything that government tries to do for us, some people will sabotage it. They don't even have a compressed natural gas for us. They don't want us to travel up and down. You go and buy fuel, the fuel will evaporate in less than 2 hours.
Thank you very much. No, like I told you, they went to the motor park there, Area 1, and said they're going to enforce 40% reduction. It is just Nollywood acting. There is nothing like that. Now, from the report that came out in The Guardian today, where they are saying that in that motor park that they had converted 50%, they are saying it was just about 5 out of 100 that they have converted. Because the one that are supposed to go to the commercial vehicles were being funded to private vehicles, and that was not the intent of President Tinubu of the federal government. So now concerning the workers, I mean, the numbers coming out from the World Bank are very dire. That this year alone, we are going to have about 3.6 million Nigerians again falling into not poverty, absolute poverty. That will be multidimensionally poor. These are the kind of things that arose from the Bretton Woods-inspired policy of President Tinubu. It won't work. The palliative the mitigation that they are trying to do is also not working because they are putting very corrupt individuals, people who are into public office because of, what they are going to get there. So even all of these things are not trickling down to the people, to the workers and all of that. Yes, a few of these buses are working on the road. We must admit that they brought already converted that were already running on fuel. Dr. Abiodun is doing that in Ogun State. We have a few of those in Abuja and all of that. But that is just like a drop in the ocean. So the real mitigation that will come is to actually, go back on this policy. But unfortunately, the president is doubling down on this policy that don't work. It is the one bank, IMF, that will tell them, go and do this one. And they are the ones bringing up all of these dire statistics, that this is what is going to happen. Things that are coming out from their own very policies. Look at energy. The failure is so glaring now that even Villa now is installing solar panels because there is no power anywhere. So the workers are getting the short end of the stick in Nigeria. So it is really very unfortunate where it's...
To go back to the issue about compressed natural gas and conversion and kits and all of that, the big concern here is safety. The other day, was it in Edo State? One vehicle exploded. And they said it was because the cylinder, the kit, something wrong with it, and all of that. So are you guys, even when the price is right, just giving Nigerians fake cylinders and endangering our lives?
Now, what actually happened, Dr. Abati, was that, what is it? Some people were trying to cut corners. They thought, a cylinder that was being sold for about 450, they could get for 300, and they went to a welder. A local welder that welded that something. Because the cylinder that we bring in, they undergo very rigorous lab test, very serious test, and they are certified, and they will not even come in without SON certification, right from the factory in China and in India, because we cannot afford to bring from Europe because those materials are just too expensive if you bring them from Europe and all of that. So what I'm telling you is this. Compressed natural gas in the vehicle is far, far safer than petrol. Okay, you had one incident of explosion. How many vehicles get burnt on the way every day using petrol? So it is not true. It is very, very safe. And let me tell you, the technical aspect of it is that, natural gas is lighter than air. So even when it goes out, it dissipates very, very easily. Whereas the LPG, the liquefied petroleum gas that we are used to cook in your house, is heavier than air and is highly combustible. The petrol that we are using, highly inflammable. Compressed natural gas, even if it bursts out from the cylinder, just dissipates into the air very, very easily, and it is very safe. So we had just that one incident that everybody is citing and all of that. Whereas you have dozens of petrol inflammation every day, tanker explosion, all of that every day. You say these things are checked and all of that, and that the agency, the
PCNGI that is supposed to be in charge of these things is an irresponsible agency.
Absolutely
That's
irresponsible.
what you have said.
Absolutely irresponsible.
And so,
Corrupt,
if you say,
fraudulent.
it's safe and we have not had many incidents, I mean, are you not approbating and
No, we're not. We are talking about the CNG itself. Just like I started by saying that the idea by President Tinubu was well conceived. It was something that could actually mitigate the deleterious effect of the fuel subsidy removal. And it was high time that we, in fact, diversified our energy mix. Not just petrol and all of that. Because we have this Qatar is a very small country, makes billions of dollars from just natural gas that we flare. So it's a resource that is there that we really need to develop. And the president and this federal government, I mean, I'm opposed to the government, I'm opposed to the economic policy of the government, but this is one thing that they are doing right. That this is one policy that is right, but that is being messed up by some characters that they put in that agency there. And unfortunately, I heard that Zach Adedeji, the chairman of the Federal Revenue Service, is already the chairman, a very responsible young man. I'm sure that he's not aware of what is going on under him there. And we are going to provide all of the evidence. I've sent some of the materials to his media advisor, Dare Adekombi, to pass on to the chairman, because we are sure of what we are going. This is something that will benefit Nigerians, will benefit the average man on the street if it is properly done. All my vehicles have been converted, and I save more than 80% on fuel cost.
You say Zach Adedeji is a young man. One day he will come and be governor in Oyo State.
We welcome him.
You'll be one of his subjects.
Yes, we welcome. So we are now. You are across 60 now. We are all old. Let this young man come and take over from us.
Anyway, thank you very much. I mean, it's interesting to have you as guests, from discussing Emily Durkheim, theory of the state and all those issues.
Now to compress natural gas.
It's amazing. It's an interesting world, and it just shows how talented people are. Thank you very much for joining us.